Hi, I'm Rev Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for 40 years. I'm going through the text this year, asking Jesus to clarify for me, and then I share from that clarity. So let's get started. Today, we're looking at Chapter 1, Miracles Principle 6. Miracles are natural. When they do not occur, something has gone wrong. So miracles should be natural and expected, and yet when someone experiences a miracle, it seems to be an extraordinary event. So what constitutes a miracle? The actual miracle is a change of mind, and the manifestation of that miracle, something that might happen or might not happen, is the apparent miracle. When I think of the miracle that takes form in my life, I see it as something that surprises us by defying the laws of the world. In the world, we have laws that govern the body. We have laws that govern every little thing to do with the body. If I go to the doctor and he says my body is riddled with cancer and tells me to get my life in order because there is no hope, then I could expect to die. I'm not a doctor and may not be able to explain the scientific language, the reason this is so, but everyone hearing about this situation would expect me to die. But what if I change my mind about what I must expect? If I were to refuse to accept the validity of those rules and choose life instead, and so were to have an immediate and total recovery, that would be the manifestation of a miracle, a miraculous change of mind. That is, the mind believed in healing instead of sickness, in life instead of death. That change of mind is the miracle, and the healed body is its manifestation. It would be a miraculous recovery because it happened outside the laws of the world. There's nothing in those laws that explains or allows the body to do that. Can this happen? Absolutely. Perhaps you've read the story of Anita Murjani, who had this very experience. She wrote about it in her book, Dying to Be Me. How does something like this happen? It happens when we realize that we're under no laws but God's. When we stop, at least for a moment, believing that we are a body with all its inherent limitations and laws, we experience something different. Jesus says we can raise the dead and heal the sick because we made death and sickness. We're not bound to the laws of the world because those laws are immutable, but because we choose to be bound. We can be free of them simply by making another choice. So why cling to these rules which hold us hostage to sickness, suffering, and death? Why indeed? The miracle proves we don't have to. And Jesus tells us that we are not supposed to be bound to the world and its laws. What would have to occur to allow me to live a life of miracles? Well, I would have to let go of the laws of the world. And it's those laws that seem to be all that prevents me being thrown into chaos. What if gravity no longer held? What if time were not really an absolute and linear event? What if I woke up one morning to discover that I could reach out past my body and realize that familiar and safe, or so-called safe, boundary no longer existed for me? I was thinking how unsettling it is for me to be in a place I've never been. I once visited Mexico briefly. I was near the border and wanted to say that I'd been to another country. And so we crossed the border and walked around for a while. I'd never been to a place where no one understood the language I speak. I tried to communicate and couldn't. Everything looked different. I didn't know the rules here, not the rules of law, which meant I could inadvertently get into legal trouble. I didn't know the cultural rules, which were surely different than the ones I was familiar with, and so I might inadvertently offend. I was very uncomfortable, and my discomfort overcame my curiosity, and so I left. I know that if I'd stayed longer, I would have discovered a new comfort level. something I could live with, but I got something from that short visit that was more important. I discovered how disturbing it is when the familiar rules are no longer in force, when things are not as I thought they were. This gives me an idea of why I might not freely embrace the idea of a life of miracles. An occasional miracle might be okay, but if I were no longer bound by the laws I made up to govern my little kingdom, this could, for a while, be very disturbing. This is why the Holy Spirit guides me gently and gives me little tiny steps to take as I travel that road. As I let go of the idea that I am this body and that this world is my home, it becomes easier to let go of the rules that no longer apply to me. The screwdriver I'm using slips and gouges out a bit of flesh on my finger, and I grab it, bracing myself for the pain. Then I remember that pain is not real, and nothing happens. I don't feel pain, and I marvel that this could happen. I'm writing in my journal with the Holy Spirit, and he's speaking to me through my writing. I'm vaguely aware that I need to stop because I have an appointment, but I really want to finish, so I give time to him and trust that he will manipulate it to my advantage. I write for a long time, it seems, but my trust holds. And when I finish, I look at the clock and almost no time has passed. I do my posting and get to my first customer right on time. In little ways like this, I'm learning to accept that the laws of the world are meaningless. I put them in place and I can ignore them. These are small things, but they're piling up. The sheer volume of miracles are making an impact on my consciousness. And the less identified I am with the story, the body, the character of Myron, the less I seem to need the reassurance of those laws. Thank you so much for joining me in this reading. If you found this helpful and you liked it, then, well, I just hope that you enjoy it and that you find some use for it. I will be back tomorrow with another reading.